Hey, folks, and welcome. Today, we are talking about the YNW Melly-trial, or the retrial, but most important for me, I need to start to catch up on what actually went on in the first trial. Now, I did watch some of it. I might even have been on Jeff's stream when he covered this from gavel to gavel. But somebody who was in court has joined me today so we can talk about it and watch some stuff from the first trial. So, everybody, a warm welcome to Jules.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Nick. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. Always a pleasure. Yeah, you were actually in the courtroom for a number of days.
Yeah, approximately 7 days, because it's quite far for me where I'm at, and fortunately at that time I had a relative that lived nearby the courthouse, so I made a phone call and said, "Hey, can you put me up for a bit?" And so yeah, I went. I wasn't there for the entire trial. I was there for a few days during the prosecution presentation, and then I did go for the last witness that the defense put on, which was that clerk. And then I went home and I waited like everybody else waited for a verdict, which didn't happen.
Yeah. Now, while you try to fill me in on this, because the basic facts is it is a double murder and they are seeking the death penalty.
Yes.
And in the first trial, they had GPS, they had Celebrite of sorts, they had video of them leaving the studio, and I mean, circumstantial evidence that in itself, I mean, points in a certain direction. But then, yeah, the main prosecutor had to leave. Tell us why.
Well, she was aware. She was very much aware of what the lead detective had said, according to the clerk that overheard the conversation, that he would lie to get a conviction. And she withheld that. I mean, she talked to the clerk herself. So she knew that this took place and she withheld it from the defense. And there were a number of other things that she did as well, that she didn't turn over, putting on a last minute. She interviewed the girlfriend. I can't remember which girlfriend it was, but she interviewed a girlfriend like 5 days before putting her on the stand to testify. She was never on the witness list. She never informed the defense that this was going to happen. She was a cluster, you know what, from the get-go. She lost. There's no doubt in my mind she's the reason why this case could not come to a conclusion with the jury, because that demographic of in that area and that demographic of the jury, you can tell has they doubted a lot of what the prosecution was saying. So they couldn't come to a decision because there was just too much shenanigans going on, and rightfully so. I mean, when you hear that, even though they're not supposed to know, they're not supposed to know what's going on outside of their presence. But you can tell just by the way the defense did an excellent job on their cross-examinations, as far as I'm concerned. And they did a good enough job to plant the seeds of reasonable doubt. So I could see why the jury could not all collectively say not guilty or guilty.
Yeah, and with that, speaking of cross-examination, I have lined up here the cross-examination of the lead detective, and it became quite interesting. Let's see here. Should I do this or no, this one. So let's listen in.
I'm just reading exactly which part you're saying where the YNW Melly-trial says, I did that.
I did that. This is the thread ID. This is the text. This is the author. And this is the recipient. Then you come down here, same thing. The ID is for the actual message, which is just specific that one message. Then the thread ID is the actual continuing message. And then come down here to it says text. Shh. The SHHHH.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Keep that up, will you please?
Of course.
Lead Detective Murray. You are the lead detective.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, yes.
Well, you got promoted me, so you better apologize to the judge.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I'd like to consider it. I can't see my eyes. Could you point to where I did that? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how do you spell that?
THAT.
Okay. Let me show you some copies of 9807 without going through all the messages.
Oh, I remember now the text messages. I mean, it was a compendium this big with just text messages. I remember that now.
Yes.
And what they are going into now is how Melly spells. And yeah, and in this text message, it was THAT. But Melly apparently never spells it that way.
No. And he proved it.
They're all from exhibits that you introduced. May I mark this as a composite exhibit? Please. Do you have any objection?
Counsel, are you offering it?
I'm going to offer it in evidence, yes. As a composite.
Now?
Huh?
Are you doing it now? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yes.
You state any objection?
You're starting evidence, if you just would cross-reference from which exhibit you got things from.
I wish I could. There's 4,000 of them that we took samples.
Excuse me one second. So what's the next exhibit number?
4,000 text messages in evidence.
Crazy.
Yeah.
This judge is excellent.
Yeah.
You offered in evidence. So
And offered in evidence as defense 4.
in evidence as defense 4, I'm sorry.
Defense 2. So
Defense 2, I'm sorry.
pre-march as defense 3.
And how many pages?
Let's skip
May I
ahead.
approach?
Yes.
spelled on this T-H-A-T, that, correct?
Correct.
This is coming from the 9807 that the state has introduced thousands of pages indicating
Council specifying.
Overruled.
that it belongs, or it's a phone that Melly uses, correct?
Correct.
Page 1 of defense exhibit coming from 9807. Would you tell the jury how he spells that?
Dat, D-A-T.
D-A-T. Page 2. Will you tell the jury how he spells that?
D-A-T.
D-A-T. Not T-H-A-T, D-A-T, correct?
Right.
Page 3, coming out of 9807. How does he spell that?
D-A-T.
So when Melly spells the word that, you want me to go through all 19 pages, or will you take my word that every time, coming out of 9807 that's attributed to this young man as writing the message, he does not spell it T-H-A-T, but D-A-T. Would you like to look through them?
No, sir, you're asking me to explain that the one moment he decided to use proper
One-
grammar.
One moment, these phone messages sitting there.
One at a time, all right? What's the objection? Overruled.
These phone messages that the state introduced sitting on this pages that we painfully went through, he spells it D-A-T, not T-H-A-T, except for this one occasion, right?
Correct.
Huh, what a strange. I'm sorry, Judge, I apologize. Somewhat unusual, wouldn't you think? Okay. Before we get into your investigation totally, you became aware that the state employed or brought in the FBI to analyze these phones, correct?
Yes, sir.
They brought in the FBI,
Actually, correction, sir, to analyze the cell site tower, not the actual phones.
cell site towers, so that they could tell the jury where these phones were located, all right?
Correct, sir.
Jameson, let's see for 1 second. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of our jury. The defendant, Mr. Evans, his counsel, the assistant attorney, the witness, Detective.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, does it mean that he never spelled it T-H-A-T? Probably not. But out of 4,000 text messages, he never spelled it anywhere else than D-A-T, except in that
Correct.
one occasion.
And
I mean-
it's suspicious, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's the conspiracy theory or whatever. If somebody wanted to pin him on it and have had access to his phone, and they just spelled it correctly.
And that's reasonable doubt, because that very well could have happened. I mean, that is a true possibility. I'm not saying he's not guilty. I don't want anybody to think that I think that he is not guilty. I don't know. All I know is that the state did not prove their case, in my opinion. And the defense showed enough of reasonable doubt. And with the Celebrate, well, where the cell phone towers were, the group of people he was with, it is possible that someone did text from his phone. It's not impossible. It's not. I mean, is it unlikely? Maybe. But is it possible? Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Does it take something from, I mean, there are other things in this trial that points towards Melly.
Yes.
So why show something? I mean, if you have gone through 4,000 text messages and introduced it as evidence, you need to know what's actually in it. And apparently, the prosecution, I don't know, tried to bury it in discovery, so to speak.
Yes, and my speculation only is that she was out to make a name for herself because he was well known. He was popular throughout the rapper and hip hop community. And to get a death penalty conviction under her belt of somebody, of this nature was big for her. And I truly believe she just was overeager in what she was doing, and she got sidetracked. And
I mean, well, it's dangerous when prosecutors have these ambitions. So they get not only tunnel vision, but extracting fame should be the least you want to do as a prosecutor.
Not her.
Not her. And she got heated.
Yeah. Though, what didn't help, if she would have just followed the rule of law and how things are supposed to work in a courtroom. And again, I'm not a lawyer, you are, but I know proper procedure. And she didn't, 55% of the time, she didn't do that. But all she had to do was follow that and let the jury watch Melly and his antics during trial. It was bad, Nick. It was bad. And
I remember his antics, but again, at that point in time, he had been in jail for 3 years.
Yes.
And I believe it was almost 2 years, a full year in solitary at that point. And since then, he has more or less been in solitary, not being allowed to call his mother, his family. He is not even allowed to call his lawyers.
That's true. That is true.
As of I believe he has been in jail for 2,172 days.
Yeah.
That's a long ass time, and half of that in solitary. It's unimaginable.
No. And so he was acting up in court during his trial, and laughing and cutting up during inappropriate moments of and that was a turn off for me. Bless you. I think his lawyers should have told him that, listen, you need to tone this down because it's not a good look. Because the jurors were looking at him during particular times of when they should have been paying attention to what was being testified to, but because of his antics, they're all, they're focusing on him. Not a good look.
No, and in the hearing the other day, you could see him just rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
And that is this self-comforting thing that most people do it, but do it, not over-exaggerated as he did. But sometimes you just, the self-comforting thing. But he does it to an extreme that I must say I have not seen outside of a mental health facility. So King Slime Slat says this is way different than a Thugger case, way different. Oh yeah, this is, now there are some similarities in prosecutors that can't be ethical if their life depending on it, and you got lyrics. But other than that, there are I haven't seen all of it. I've seen portions of it, but I've seen cases with less evidence get convictions.
Yeah, and also the big difference between this case and Thugs is that the judge. Let's not even go down that road with those. But this judge has been exceptional.
Now, since this first trial, he has retired, and now it is Judge Fain. Judge Fain is, well, not famous, but he was the Scott Peterson judge. And from the little I have seen of him, he likes to have order in his courtroom. Yes. And now the latest is that he forced the prosecution to hand over the search warrant for Miss Liberty that the prosecution tried to hide from the defense. Yeah. So instead, I don't understand how they thought they could get away with it, but they did for over a year. And it's infuriating because why is that necessary to do it that way?
It makes it look
that would have called for, if they had discovered this during trial, it's an automatic mistrial.
Yes. I don't know. It just makes it look really, really bad. And this judge, as you know, the trial starts in September, and this judge is adamant. He does not want any more delays. He wants us to go forward. And now because of what's going on with Melly's attorneys, it's like now he has to make a decision. Do you want to go on with your current attorneys now that you're aware of these accusations, or do you want to hire someone else? But even if you want to hire someone else, guess what? We're still going forward with trial in September. So,
yeah, but this delay here, because he put 2 full days for hearings, and he had to postpone everything. Well, because he didn't have any choice with this, that the prosecution shenanigans again. And you would think with what happened in the first trial that the prosecution could learn, but apparently they can't. Now, this is not Miami-Dade, or is it? No, it's Broward.
Yes, it's Broward County. And for all intents and purposes, that's a tough county. I wouldn't want to live there. it's not a good area. I hate disparaging police officers because I come from a law enforcement family. So it's really difficult for me to say this, but it's true. There is a lot of shenanigans in Broward County where officers have been suspended, brought up on charges, of doing some crimes that, yeah, we would go to jail for, like in a heartbeat. So that's why the lead detective, when this all came out, it wasn't surprising to me, in the least. And yeah, it's.
King Slime Slats. So what was Liberty doing, guys? According to the prosecution, they suspect that she has tampered with evidence. So somebody wrote an affidavit. They presented it to that with a search warrant to a different judge, who is not presiding over the YNW Melly-trial, but a different judge. Even though it is clear that this evidence tampering is related to this case. No, John C., it's Florida. This case is in Florida. So, and they tried to hide this from the defense and they almost got away with it. But I believe it was in Discovery something with Google, that by pure chance, the defense found out about it. And they found out like last week. So the Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday hearing never came about because of prosecutorial misconduct. And this case, I believe they have 7 or 8 motions regarding prosecutorial misconduct that was supposed to be handled during these 2 days. And now it didn't.
No.
So, yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but let's listen more to this lead detective and the cross-examination of him in the first trial.
Thank you. When we took the break, we were talking about the state bringing in the FBI to plot out where the phones were. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And the reason they brought the FBI in is because the FBI has a special unit to map out and plot where phones are. And they do that not only in this country, but all over the world.
Correct.
And the FBI agent they brought in was, in fact, Special Agent Collins. And you met with him.
Yes, sir.
And he was from the CAST unit.
Yes, sir.
Which stands for Cellular Analysis Survey Team.
Yes, sir.
And that is a unit that is brought in not only throughout the United States, but throughout the world, to plot out and find the location of phones. Correct?
Correct.
And to render opinions as to where the phones are located at a particular time.
Correct.
Now, were you aware that in order for him to do that, one of the things he needed was the name of the cell provider?
Correct. Yes.
And the list of towers in a particular area that he's trying to locate the phone.
I don't know if he needed the list of towers, but that's standard.
Would it surprise you to learn that he needs not only the provider name, but the list of towers in a particular area so that he can attempt to map out and tell a jury like this where the phones are located at a particular time?
I have to disagree because the platform they use, CastBiz, is linked with what's called NDCAC. It's the national database of all the cell towers that's maintained in the United States. So the platform they use is constantly updated. Now, when we use the platform we use, we have to update it periodically because more towers are added. So as for the fact that you needed it, I'm not sure about that, sir.
Okay. Are you aware that even though they are the Rolls-Royce of locating phones throughout the world,
Do you have to go out?
that they cannot pinpoint at a particular time exactly where a phone is at any particular time?
Correct.
They can only give a general area.
Correct, sir.
That general area is approximately a couple miles wide, correct?
No, it's more like meters as compared to miles. It's accurate, but it's not precise.
Now, you indicated to these folks that you looked at something on the cell records called environment,
Yes, sir.
and you use that as a guide to locate or plot where a particular phone is at a particular time, correct?
No, sir, that's inaccurate. The environment just tells us where the phone is interpreting where it's at. Example, it tells us if it's mobile, if it's outdoor, it tells us it's indoor. The environment has nothing to do with the location data. We use that in this case because every time we had an environment response from the T-Mobile records, I could corroborate it with video. Example, when he walked out of the recording studio at 3:18 a.m., the phone was registering outdoor.
How about when it was on I-75 or 595?
It was saying mobile. And if you would let me finish, every time the phone was registering outdoor, mobile, we had video to corroborate that. So he's walking, he's outdoors, it said mobile. It says outdoor. The second he gets in that vehicle and drives away, it switches over to mobile. On 595, we have video, mobile. On Pines Boulevard near the Monastery School, it says mobile. Passing McDonald's, mobile. After the shooting, after the murder, it's coming back east on Pines Boulevard, it's saying mobile. So we had video to corroborate that one little instant, that one little section of the box.
Are you aware that the FBI never, ever uses the label environment because they cannot attest to the reliability of that?
Well, I can't attest to how the FBI operates. I can't attest to their
Could you
policy.
just answer my question, yes or no, and then explain?
I sustain the objection.
Repeat the question, sir.
Are you aware, yes or no, whether or not you're aware that the FBI does not look at the environment because they cannot attest to the reliability?
I am not aware of that.
Fair enough. You also use latitude and longitude coordinates.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that the FBI does not rely upon the latitude and longitude when they determine where a phone is?
The latitude and longitude that comes into play on the true call data report of the cell phone. It's an estimate. The cell phone provider is providing us an estimate where they believe the phone might be. Like we said before, it's not precise, but it's accurate.
My question to you wasn't that. My question to you is, are you aware?
Excuse me. What's the objection?
Badgering. You need me to approach briefly, Your Honor?
Sure.
Yeah. The prosecution here.
Sir,
Oh, they
that
weren't allowed to.
FBI does not use the latitude and longitude coordinates when doing their analysis.
No.
Are you aware, sir?
For context here, Gwendolyn, do we like this witness or not? This is the lead detective who told in the presence of people that he would lie to get a conviction. So no, we don't like him. I don't know if I don't know what happened to him after this, if he's still a cop or not. I wouldn't have him as a cop. I mean, how would he ever be able to testify? Because every time he goes to try to testify, this will be brought up. Is it true that you in this trial admitted that you would lie to get a conviction? Boom.
Yeah.
You can't-
I don't know where he is today. I have no idea. I suppose I could look into it, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would say forced retirement if I had to guess.
Yeah. I mean, oh, I remember one thing about this witness now. Do you remember Scrubs? The TV
Yes.
show?
Yeah.
The very, very snarky doctor. That's-
No, I can't think. No, but I know who you're talking about.
He played Perry Cox. Let's see here. If I can find it. There he is.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And he plays a bad guy in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
He does.
So yeah. Oh. If you're new here on this channel, we don't always follow a straight line on this show. We get distracted.
Yes. But it's fun.
Yeah.
That the FBI never uses a cellular analysis by itself to prove a case.
Yeah, recent.
All you are saying, basically, is that a phone may be in a general area, correct?
Correct, sir.
Cannot be 100% correct, right?
Correct.
And in fact, depending upon what tower it bounces off on, it could be totally incorrect.
There has been false readings with towers. Sometimes, anomalies within the records. It happens.
Yeah. Oh, this is something that should be. I will try to clip this because he is admitting in open court that cell towers really isn't that reliable.
No, because also too, if you've got I'm not an expert, but just by other trials when this kind of stuff came up in court, it all depends too on the positioning of the cell towers. Not every cell tower is positioned, X amount of miles or however they do it from each other. I mean, they're in different directions. The distance between them differs from tower to tower. So I could see why it can be doubtful.
Yeah, and then you have buildings, elevations. Ow. Fuck's sake, cat.
I put Frankie outside.
You're cuddly, Mr. Jingles, but please no claws while cuddly. It hurts. So, apology for my language. Daily quick bites. On that note, let me ask you something way off topic. Okay, because you're the only one I know to ask. The TV show Vikings, good, decently accurate, or Hollywood bull 30% accurate? 25-30%? It's the records of Ragnar and his sons are very scarce. And in some of the events, it's believed that they attribute a lot of different things to one person because Ragnar is the one that is mentioned. But,
that was one of my favorite shows. Did you watch Valhalla Vikings? The newest one that came out? What was it, last year, I believe?
I haven't watched the new one.
Well, gotta watch it.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
And we've heard a lot of talk about chat messages, and you read with both prosecutors various messages for what I perceive to be days, but hours. Days.
I would agree with you, it was long.
Long. And they would say, I'm going to pretend to be Mr. Smith, for instance, and you read the message coming from Judge Murphy, but we get in trouble, not Judge Murphy. How about that gentleman in the back from BSL? And the messages were read and identified as those two people, the state and that BSO officer sitting in that corner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you're aware, in order to really tell a jury who the person is, you need that person like this.
Suggestion,
Foundation.
sustain, rephrase.
You've had training in analyzing phones.
Yes, sir.
Somewhat, correct?
Yes, sir.
You have been an officer or a detective for some 20 plus years.
Yes, sir.
In order to identify someone's voice, you would need, legally in the courtroom, as you know, the person who made the phone call, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or the person who received the phone call. Did you ever speak to, what was his name, Gambino?
Yes, I did. Patrick Deloach is his real name. Deloach, Deloach.
Now, in addition to that, you told this jury that you attempted to, well, you did get some cameras off of 595 and I-75, correct?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell the jury if you could see who was in each vehicle?
No, sir, you cannot tell.
Could you tell this jury how many people were in each vehicle?
No, sir, you cannot tell.
And you did get a surveillance from Montessori School, correct?
Yes, sir. And McDonald's.
And McDonald's. Well, on Miramar Parkway, for instance, The only surveillance you got was from the Montessori school, correct?
No, Montessori School was on Pines Boulevard.
Okay. Did you get any surveillance from any of the cameras on Miramar Parkway?
More specifics, or which one are you referring to?
Okay. How about the CVS that's on Miramar Parkway?
It doesn't cover up that far.
Did you pull it?
We went there.
Did you look at it?
Yes, sir.
How about Applebee's on Miramar Parkway?
Where's our Applebee's on Miramar Parkway?
We're on Dykes Road. On Miramar Parkway West, on Dykes Road, on the intersection.
Yeah, there's a pharmacy there, but there's no Applebee's there.
Did you go to that pharmacy?
Yes, sir.
Did you pull the surveillance?
Yes, sir.
How about the Pollo Tropical?
Their videos didn't cover that area.
Did you pull them?
No, sir.
Did you look at them?
No, sir.
How about the gas station that's on?
Another similarity between this case and the YSL case. Lot of surveillance videos that were never pulled or lost, not watched.
Yeah.
I mean, how, yeah. I don't get it. It's almost as if they don't want to solve crimes.
No, they want everything just handed to them on a silver platter instead of actually putting in the work to get a legitimate conviction. And again, it wasn't done here. And I know some people think that this attorney is being too aggressive. That's his job. Melly's life is on the line. I mean, literally his life is on the line. And he's got to be aggressive. And I don't find him in this particular situation any more aggressive than Hank Brennan was yesterday cross-examining Dr. Russell. So
no, there's a big difference here because he's trying to save his client's life.
Yes.
And he has a person on the stand that he knows has said he's prepared to lie to get a conviction. I would be aggressive too. I mean, why not? If you think you can get away with it, go for it.
And I just think that this detective just didn't think that this lawyer was going to. Well, first off, I don't think that he thought that the clerk was going to come forward and say, "Hey, I overheard this conversation." Yeah. So that whole thing snowballed, but the attorney, when he's asking these questions about did you pull and view these particular videos, doesn't mean that, well, if you would have done it, you would have seen, my client was either there or he wasn't there, wherever road he's traveling down right now. But the mere fact that it wasn't done, so he could say, yes, we pulled it, we viewed it. It didn't provide us any evidence, or it did provide us even more evidence. So, you've got to weigh it out. And
yeah, because for me, it's better to look at it and see what you find than don't look at it because you are scared it won't show what your current theory is. Because the evidence must come before the conclusion.
Yes.
And you always have to be respectful for the fact that you might be wrong.
Exactly. And you've got a person's life on hand. And here's the thing. We all know, yes, that the burden is on the state to prove their case. But that's not just what the state is for. They're supposed to find out the truth, no matter what road it leads them down. And by not crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's is reasonable doubt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the absence of evidence is not evidence in itself. But when prosecutors bring forward evidence and you ask them, okay, but what corroborated? Why do you only have this particular video and not from the neighbors?
Yeah.
Why? Then it becomes not evidence in itself, but the lack of evidence should not be promoted by a jury or a judge, because we can't
No.
have law enforcement that actively avoids collecting evidence because they only want to show their current theory. That tunnel vision is dangerous, because that is what leads to false imprisonments, false
Exactly.
convictions.
Exactly. And you think in this day and age that they would know this by now. And with, like, we have all of this technology. No matter where we go, no matter what we do, we are going to be seen one way or the other, let alone our own personal electronic devices. The thing here is that just do your due diligence and make sure you get this correct.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and I bring the Rex Hoyman case as a good example. The alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer. The prosecution has bi-weekly meetings with the defense to hand over. Hey, here's what we discovered. They volunteer everything they have and everything, because they are so sure about their case. They have nothing. They aren't scared of the defense.
They're very confident.
Yeah, and that should be the benchmark of a prosecution. When you are so certain of your case, you don't care what's in discovery. You don't overload discovery with meaningless stuff. You don't provide 4,000 texts into evidence.
Well, that's what a lot of them do. They want to bury them in discovery. And before I used to think, well, you asked for it, so now you've got it. And now with a lot of these high profile cases where they could go either way. Now I wonder, is this a prosecution strategy? Let's bury them, in all of the mushy stuff, the stuff that really doesn't matter, to hide actual exculpatory evidence.
Yeah.
Miramar Parkway.
The one just east of McDonald's?
Yes.
Yes, it did not cover the road.
How about the bank that was on the corner of 172nd and Miramar Parkway?
Did not cover the road.
Did you look at it?
Yes, sir.
Did you bring it in?
No, sir.
How about the four-way intersection where there's 4 cameras on 172nd Avenue?
Cameras covering the road.
Yeah, you see the cars driving through.
There's no traffic cameras at 172 and Pines. That seems to be a great misconception when people see those white boxes on top of the cameras. Those are actually control the traffic signals. They're sensors. The old sensors used to be in the road. They would burn out. The lights would not cycle properly. So, but there's no cameras. It's a great misconception.
Okay, then you said the vehicle turned right on and went south on 184th. Is that correct?
Which vehicle?
The Jeep?
Jeep number 1 south on 184.
Did it make a right turn on 184, the Jeep?
Yes, sir.
That would be north.
Yes, sir.
My mistake. Did you look at the camera at Publix that's on that road?
Cover the road, sir.
Did you pull it and look at it?
We went there, it does not cover the road.
My question is, did you look at it?
Yes,
How about Sunset Lakes Elementary? That's there. Did you pull that camera, sir?
no, sir.
How about West Broward Elementary? Did you pull that camera
Where's West Broward Elementary located at?
on south on 184?
184 and what?
Pembroke Road?
Pembroke Road in 184?
Yes.
I don't know of a West Broward school there at Pembroke Road in 184.
Okay. How about the Walmart?
No, sir.
You didn't look at it.
No, sir.
How about the Audi Market? Did
No,
you
sir.
look at that one?
No, sir.
How about the Walgreens?
No, sir.
We know that you pulled the Montessori school.
Yes, sir.
How about the Exxon? That's right down the street from there.
No, sir.
How about Somerset Academy?
No, sir.
How about the Tractor Supply Company on that street? Did you bother to look at that camera?
We're specifically on High Boulevard to Tractor Supply.
190 what? 192nd.
No, sir.
You missed quite a few cameras.
No, sir.
No. Now, you were told by Cortland Henry that the day of October 25th, several people went to the flea market to buy some weed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Certainly you went there to pull the tapes of the flea market so that you could show this jury, didn't you?
No, sir.
But you did a helicopter ride to show this jury this route on what day?
May 2023.
May of 2023,
Yes, sir.
after this trial started. Correct?
Action, Your Honor.
Suggestion.
Yeah. So they took the time after the trial started in order to show aerial photos. They took a helicopter ride,
Yeah.
not Google Earth,
Nope.
not anything, not even a drone. No, a full-on helicopter.
On us. On
ta-
us. We
on
had to
tax-
pay for that.
Yeah, for taxpayers' dime. To show, oh, here's the route we believe they took, and here's the flea market, yada, yada, yada. Well, 4 years after the actual event. After.
Yeah.
That is a good example on if the state wants, they have unlimited resources to bring to trial. I mean, that have to be, I mean, $10,000-$15,000. Just, hey, let's do it because we have the money.
And if they're using a law enforcement helicopter, and I have to assume that is what in fact they used. I can't believe that they would actually rent one. But now you're taking community resources away. God forbid that there was an emergency that happened, and you're doing this nonsense. If you wanted to do it, why wasn't it done? First off, you didn't need a helicopter. Like you said, Nick, there's Google Earth. Real simple, 1, 2, 3, it's done. You've got it. They also have, what is that? Though I'm not technically savvy here, but those AI demonstrations that they put together, they could have done that. There's so many other avenues that they could have done, and to do it mid-trial was ridiculous.
The jury is from that area. They know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And, I don't know.
You did this helicopter ride in May of 2023,
Yes, sir.
after this trial started, correct?
Correct.
And you did this drive-by in a car with a partner filming it. On what day?
just
March 2023.
checking some of the testimony, not a complete rewatch.
That was 2 years after this incident?
4 years, actually, sir.
4 years. That's why I'm a lawyer and can't be an accountant. 4 years after this incident.
Yes, sir.
And that was all done at the request of the state of Florida, correct?
Correct.
The prosecutors in this case,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
4 years after the incident.
Yes.
4 years after this young man.
Excuse me? Thank you. Just think.
4 years after this young man surrendered, correct?
Just think you got, ask your next question.
Let's look at Exhibit 115, if I could find it. That's the blue phone, I think, that was in the vehicle.
The black LG phone. The blue phone belonging to Chris Thomas, or the one belonging to Anthony Williams, or the one was in the back seat rest?
Okay.
Hey, Nana Mist is here. Thank you. Unfortunately, the justice system in the US went from innocent to proven guilty to guilty unless proven innocent. It is this way all across the country. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah. And I don't, except for us over on YouTube, Rumble, X, and whatever's showing the trials and pointing out the misconduct, I don't know what else to do, because apparently civics isn't taught in schools anymore.
No.
So there are so many people out there that's well, innocent and proved guilty is just saying. It's not actually something we do, and it's a fundament in Western law. That is what differs us from communist states and Islamic states. That the defendant have rights, and one of the biggest one is the presumption of innocence, and it's infuriating.
I need to know. I need to know what the owner is, correct?
Correct, sir.
During one of the breaks, I asked you to open that phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
And there was a SIM card in there, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that SIM card has a serial number on it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Fine, no? Can you step down a second? Should be fine.
Will we help you find Johnson?
If you could, yes. Could you step down to help?
Is it one of the others?
I'm too old to say, Judge.
At least this lead detective have the decency to help out to finding the evidence.
I'm not impressed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. May I approach?
Yes. 115, is that right?
That is 115, State's Exhibit 115. Could you open that, take that phone out, please?
I'm just going to put gloves on just because there was blood on at one time.
I don't blame you. Was that phone, while you're pulling it out, analyzed to determine which blood it was?
Yes, sir. We took it to HIDA, High Intensity Drug Trafficking Agency, and they had them attempt to analyze the phone. It's completely broken.
Could you open that phone like you did during, when I asked you to?
He's wearing gloves, he's touching the phone, and then he goes into his pocket.
Don't pull out your burglary key now.
It's not a burglary tool. It should be a burglary, sir. Okay. I don't want to lose it.
Did you pull it out?
Yes, sir. It's right here.
Could you pull out this, did you pull out the
Yes,
SIM
it's
card?
right here, sir.
Could you read the serial number off of that, sir?
890112000080218718727. Looks like there's an 80.01A.
Could you, with the court's permission, let the jury see that SIM card?
You want to publish it to the jury?
Yes, let him hold it.
Any objection? All right, you step down. Detective.
Just good.
I don't know how to work the computer, I'd rather him just show it to the jury.
Just maybe step down. Thank you.
Do you remember why this was important? With the SIM card serial number?
If memory serves, it's not the same serial number.
Oh,
If my memory serves, they've got the serial number listed incorrectly.
oh,
That's how the phone communicates with the tower. It's the serial number we just
Turn it
read.
on, please.
And that's the,
Yeah, we're gonna make it, because
now you do it to me.
I just wanted you to get some exercise, quite candidly.
There's no blood on this. This is, sorry. What do you want to put that right here?
Wherever you can, wherever it's published on the screen.
Put it up there.
Okay, we're gonna leave it there for a second. I'm sorry, may I approach? I apologize. That's the serial number, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it goes to a Sprint phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're aware that that SIM number can be tracked once you have the provider.
Yes, sir.
to a particular phone.
Yes.
Did you do that in this case?
No, sir.
Fair enough. You could take that SIM card back.
Can I step down one?
Yes, you may.
So they had the SIM card, they had the number, they could more or less, okay, where has this SIM card been? And they never checked it.
Now, I'm sorry, tell me when you're ready.
You
Put
got
it
it.
back in the 115, the bag.
It's gonna take me a few minutes away to the next break. If you want to.
I don't want the clerk to get in trouble, so just put it back in there. You return it to the.
Yeah, I don't know why so many law enforcement officers do half-ass investigations. We see it so often. Instead of a thorough investigation, they just collect what they believe is enough, and then they're done. Now, there are a lot of cases, and there's a high
Thank you.
caseload, but I don't think that's an
Now, what I'd
excuse.
like to do is somewhat go in chronological order of your investigation, if I may. You get a call on October 26, 2018, to report to the Memorial Hospital, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you get there at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, you speak to the first officer, which would have been Officer Amagor.
Yes, sir.
And also on the scene is Detective Bertram and Bermudez.
Sergeant Bermudez. Yes.
Sergeant, I apologize. And you are assigned the lead detective role.
Yes, sir.
And that is like a conductor in an orchestra. All right.
I wouldn't categorize that, but
Now, are pictures taken of the two individuals that were shot before they were removed from the vehicle, the Jeep?
yes, yes, sir.
You immediately go and speak to Cortland Henry, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we listened to the tape of Mr. Henry,
Yes, sir.
who told you that there were 3 people in his car, correct?
Yes, sir.
Cortland Henry, the driver, correct?
Yes.
Christopher, and, well, let me get in the right order. In the front passenger seat was Anthony Williams,
Yes.
and sitting in the rear passenger seat was Christopher Thomas.
Yes.
Only those 3 people when the shooting occurred, correct?
Correct.
You learned that he lied to you about where the drive-by shooting was, correct?
Yes.
You went to, 3 different areas to look for evidence of the drive-by of Cortland, what Cortland Henry told you, correct?
Yes.
You learned at that time that at first he was labeled a victim, but that he now is lying to the police concerning the shooting of 2 individuals.
He,
Oh, yeah. I have a vague recollection of this other person in the car who actually dropped people off at the hospital and then started lying his teeth out.
True.
Yeah. Now, that I believe But then, did he get a plea deal or something in this trial?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's
believe
also
so.
very lazy, because if either of the two should be suspects, then why do they take plea deals from the person who might probably be the more well, why do they take, well, I do know why. It's easier to get a plea deal from a person who is guilty.
Well, yes, but I think that Melly was the more well-known character, so that's the one who they wanted. And but here's the thing, though. If this is where I have such difficulty, why drop them off at the hospital? Like, if you were pretending to have a drive, if someone shot people in your car and then got out, and then and you're going to say it was a drive-by shooting, why did he take them to the hospital? There was a possibility, what if one or both of them have lived and said, well, Melly's the one who shot me. Or they could have said it was a drive-by shooting. I mean, this is where it's so, there's such a gray area in this case.
Yeah.
He was still listed as a victim that day, even though we knew he was lying to us, but he was still considered a victim at that point.
There is such a crime as lying to the police.
Yes, sir, it's a misdemeanor.
You could have arrested him if you so chose for lying to the police, correct?
You're saying I should have arrested a potential victim of a violent crime on a misdemeanor?
Could you just answer my question? Could you have arrested him, yes or no?
Yes.
And you spoke to him for approximately an hour or two, correct?
It was about an hour.
Okay. And he gave you the address where he lives, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that address was 18521 Southwest 44th Street, Silver Lakes?
Yes, sir. No, Sunset Lakes.
Sunset Lakes. But he gave you the home address.
Yes.
And he tells you also that Melly lives there, correct?
Yes.
He tells you Anthony Williams, one of the victims, lives there.
Yes.
He tells you Christopher Thomas, the other victim, lives there, correct?
Correct.
And he also tells you that Melly is a recording artist, correct?
Yes.
And we learned from the testimony that $16 million went into Jameson Francois' bank account.
Over a 30-month period, yes.
Okay. So, and he was the business manager of this 19-year-old young man.
Yes.
You learned later, correct?
Yes.
A rather successful, would you say, recording artist.
I really don't understand the music business, sir. I don't know how the money's made, how it comes in.
I'm not asking you that. Someone who earns $16 million in 30 months legally is pretty successful, wouldn't you say?
I don't, like I said before, that we could never determine the amount of money, what was, because Mr. Francois had other clients, so we could never isolate what specifically is made by one artist over another.
Oh.
We just knew the money was there.
So, you knew that the two victims, the driver of the car that lied to you, and Melly lived, and you had the address at the same house.
Yes.
You also learned about that time, and you mentioned it briefly, that a text message came out from a crucial almighty.
Yes.
And that text message was, we were just aiming at YNW, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it had a picture of him with a target, correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so Nana Misty had a story here. My son got pulled over in a company car because of a burned out taillight. My son was explaining it was a company car, and the officer says to him, I cannot hear you over how loud your hat is. Wow.
Jesus, I can't. I
My son
can't.
was wearing a colorful bucket hat. They asked if they could search the car. My son said, it's not his car. The officer then pulled him out of the car and called for a canine. Canine did an open air search around the car and alerted to nothing. My son was given a fix-it ticket for the taillight and was sent on his way. My son, however, had the thought to record the whole thing, and that officer was fired 2 weeks after the interaction. Good. Yeah. To my knowledge, it is a fundamental right to record cops.
Yeah, and don't let them tell you any different when they tell you put that phone down. No. No.
And don't speak, but do what you're told. Call a lawyer. And record if you can.
Absolutely.
This is not legal advice. This is how you simply what you're allowed to do.
Yeah, and it's common sense.
Mm.
I mean, it's just pure common sense, and it goes for everyone. However, I hate to bring this up, but it's a fact. Black and brown people, especially males, need to be very careful when they get pulled over, because, yeah, the evidence out there supports that cops are not kind, especially if they are in an area of where they feel like a Black or brown person should not be in, upper middle class area, and they can't believe, well, what are they doing here? When in fact they actually live in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And I don't understand this with field sobriety. We don't have that over here. We have, you blow into the tube, but if the cop still has some suspicions, he has to take you in for a blood test. Well, not has to, but he can't do a field sobriety test because it's unreliable. Imagine, I'm hard of walking. If I were to do a field sobriety test, I would fall over.
Me too.
Now, I would be drunk as no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We know, Nick. We know.
Yeah.
So it would be fair to say on October 26th of 18, Crucial Almighty, which his real name was David Hedgepath, was suspect number one based upon that.
It was a person of interest. It was something to look at.
When did you, since you knew this on October 26th of 2018, when did you decide to talk to the David Crucial Almighty, who said he shot at this young man inside a Jeep? What date?
I first did a search warrant into his social media account where the comments came from, which then being able to determine a better picture of Mr. Hedgepeth was, so it was probably maybe 2 years later when we interviewed Mr. Hedgepeth.
2 years later. That would be in 20?
Yes, sir.
A year after this young man surrenders to you, to the police?
I'm not sure the exact date, but
February of 19. Would you agree it was 2 years after that?
yes, sir.
And you interviewed him after the case was closed, correct? Because it was closed at the time of the arrest.
Yes,
Of Melly, correct?
yes, sir.
Do you subpoena any records from him?
His work records.
And when do you subpoena those work records?
2 years later, after we interviewed him.
Okay. And I think you introduced him this. Did you speak to any of his co-employees to verify whether or not he was really working when the time clock indicated he was?
Yes, sir.
No. You also learned from Cortland Henry that they were having a problem with a guy named Ben.
I'm speeding up to 1.25 because they are talking
I'm gonna
really,
label him
really
as
slow here.
suspect number 2. Who is Bentley?
Never could identify.
So last name unknown.
Correct.
You also learned that there was a problem at Walmart where they got jumped and I think a necklace or a bracelet was stolen.
So a little pendant fell off one of them, yes.
Okay. Did you go to Walmart to investigate that?
No, sir.
I'm going to make him suspect number 3. And I'm going to go to Walmart with a question. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Did you bother to go and attempt to pull the surveillance of Walmart? Did they keep their page for a while?
Not a while, sir, but usually about 30 days.
Did you go to Walmart to attempt to see if it even didn't exist?
No, sir.
Now, you then, during October 26th, get the surveillance tape of the people coming out of the recording studio, correct?
On which date, sir?
The 26th.
Yes, sir.
You respond to the hospital in the morning.
Yes, sir.
By mid-afternoon, you get the surveillance tape, correct?
Yes, sir.
You identify, do you not, by the end of October 26th, all 8 people that left the recording studio?
I think we had more like the 27th or.
Hey!
Okay. By October 27th, you identified,
Hey, Steph, how are you doing? Hello.
Hi,
Oh,
Steph.
Steph's in
Steph,
the chat.
congratulations. Congratulations on your new channel, Steph. I've been
Yes.
watching. It's great. You're a political nerd. Love it.
Yeah. I need to find her channel, her new channel.
Yes, her new channel. I love it. I subscribed.
Let's see. There it is. There it is. This is Steph the Alter Nerd's new channel. Political Nerds, where she covers a lot of what's going on in UK and stuff like that. There is a lot of things going on in the UK right now regarding concealing and covering up SA crimes. So yeah, go watch her. Here's the link to that one. So you get UK news from UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
think, if I'm not mistaken, she may also be doing some U.S. Political news as well. She got Jeff's merch yesterday.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm still waiting for my mug. Still waiting for my mug, but I will get it eventually. I will get it eventually. Yeah, there she says. I'm also doing American political news too. Way.
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't do much I'm not a fan of politics. I rarely cover it. But if I would do it on another channel, because that it would screw the algo up immediately if I went into politics as well. I mean, just by covering, I had a few videos regarding Fani Willis and the Trump case. And all of a sudden, I have 60% of my normal views. Just because I mentioned Trump.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do politics either. However, I like watching other channels that do. I have a degree in international relations. Oh, well, that's new news, Steph. I didn't know that.
So, yeah. Okay. She can provide expert testimony in coming trials then.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, if a cop can go up on the stand as a lead detective, as in this case, after he admitted that he is prepared to lie to get convictions, I mean, and we all seen in different trials the kind of experts the state sometimes bring forward. My favorite is still Pinch and Zoom guy from the YSL trial. From the prosecution wanted a guy in as a forensic video analyst. And then on the Daubert hearing, we found out what he does is he gets a video from the investigators with a timestamp. He plays it up to the timestamp. He pauses. He takes a screenshot. Takes that screenshot into Photoshop and then pinch and zoom the part the investigators want enhanced. That's all he does for a living.
And how is that an expert?
Yeah. My 3-year-old niece can do that. It's so...
Yeah.
Now, he was never called to testify in court. I'm a little bit bummed out about that because I would have loved to see his testimony.
Yeah,
Mm.
crazy.
Oh, yeah. So, congratulations on your new channel, Steph. I hope all the success, and I hope I get to 100,000 before your new channel gets to 100,000, but I don't think so.
That was a good one, Nick. I'll give you that one. That was a good one, Nick.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Steph's gonna do real. I mean, I know Steph will do really well.
Oh, she will.
You know,
She is born for success. I
Oh.
mean,
absolutely.
yeah. Oh, so
And
congratulations.
she doesn't take any prisoners, I might add.
Oh no. I do not want to be on the wrong end of if she gets mad. Yeah.
Yeah. She, rightfully so.
Mm.
And I'm 2025. Supposedly, we'll see if Steph is true to her word. So coming back to Tampa, I cannot wait to see my friend again.
Yeah. And Steph, I want a rematch of the Lego build. Because first of all, we were supposed to do it at the same time. You cheated. You went on first. And then I only lost with like half a minute or something. Hey, it's a bet. Huh? A rematch. A rematch in Lego build. Yeah. You named the Lego set. Hold on. We'll talk. We'll talk. Let's do it on my channel. Yeah, definitely. I will find something. I will find something. Definitely. Something Batman.
Yeah. Okay.
Only stipulation is a Lego set neither of us have done before. Damn.
Oh, Nick, were you trying to cheat?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I wouldn't. Oh, she likes Batman. Favorite color. Okay. I'll check the Lego purchasing sites and see if we can find something that is suitable. Yeah, definitely. Oh, that will be fun. Oh, yes. If you have the choice, always choose Batman. If anybody asks me about my star sign, Batman, because it's all made up and I choose Batman. Oh, and I just lost some viewers. No, I didn't. Yeah, so it's a deal. Me and Steph, the Alter Nerd, will go head to head building Lego. Rematch. Steph v. Nick, part 2. All right. We have a trial here.
Cortland Henry. Correct. Anthony Williams.
Yes, sir.
Christopher Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Trevon Glass.
Yes, sir.
Melly.
Yes, sir.
I'm missing
Jacoby Mills and
Jacoby Mills.
Octavius Withers
Octavius Withers. And
Adrian Davis.
All 8 people that left the recording studio, and 2 have passed away, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you knew where all 8 of them were living, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was at the 18720, whatever that address I read off before.
The Sunset Lakes, 184 Southwest 24th Street.
You had that address, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had observed the bloody scene of inside the Jeep, correct?
Correct.
And you knew that Cortland Henry had lied to you.
Correct.
So you certainly, at that point, obtained a search warrant to look at that house to see if you could find any blood, any gun, or anything to tie up what happened in that car, correct?
There is no way we could have got a search warrant for that house because there was no nexus to the crime to the house. And I have
Oh,
Told you.
oh, this is so stupid.
I told
Oh.
you.
He brought the victims. After, then he lied about his whereabouts. That's the nexus you need. That's all you need to get a search warrant in front of a judge. That, yeah, really, that's all you need. So him saying there's no nexus, bullshit.
Yep. And this is what he has done. I mean, it's bad. This is bad.
Oh. And he probably has to testify in the retrial as well. Oh.
Yeah. And don't think all of this BS isn't going to come out in the retrial, because it will.
Oh yeah, because this new judge, he isn't taking any prisoners either. He
No.
does not like shenanigans at all.
No, he was not happy with the prosecution team the other day, whenever it was. Yeah, not happy.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what his findings will be, because there are a lot of sanctions he can impose. He can, if he wants to, say, yeah, with this, the death penalty is off the table. Yeah, I mean...
And not for nothing, but I think the prosecution would have an easier time getting a conviction if the death penalty was taken off the table.
Yeah, maybe.
to establish a nexus between the two, where the judges will not sign the warrant.
Did you even try, sir, to get a search warrant and go in front of a judge and say, I got 8 people who left the studio. They all live in the same house. The driver of the vehicle we interviewed lied, and the inside of the Jeep is covered in blood. And we're looking for the gun or guns and the bloody clothes involved in this. Did you bother to do that, sir?
So like I said before, there was no connection between the house and the crime itself. Now,
The answer-
where we had blood, where we had evidence, where we had instruments of a crime, we did search warrants. Anytime we had a nexus between the two, we did a search warrant. We never had a nexus between the two. We even went to that house that day, knocked on the door, there was no one there.
You could have secured that house by officers standing in front of it and at least come to this jury and say, I went to a judge, explain to the judge, 8 people live in a house, 8 people left the studio, and a few hours later, 2 people ended up dead, and the driver of the vehicle lied to us about everything concerning the shooting. You could have done that, couldn't you?
That's not how that works, sir.
Not how it works.
Oh my
Fair
God, he's lying. He
Yeah,
is
he's
lying.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah, he
Did
is
you get a
lying.
search warrant of the house in November at all?
You mean for which house, sir?
The house where Melly lived.
No, sir.
How about December?
They were already gone at that point.
You could have looked for blood, traces of blood, because we saw that we sprayed this agent on things and miraculously blood surfaces. You know that.
Yes, sir.
Did you do that?
No, sir.
Yeah, this is so stupid.
You mentioned to the state that you spoke to an Adrian Davis and a Dontavius Withers, correct?
Yes, sir.
They were the 2 of the individuals that originally left the studio
Yes, sir.
and got into the red Mitsubishi.
Correct.
You learned from that. I didn't even ask the question.
Hey, watch himself.
Where is entering?
Yeah, this is from Law and Crime, and apparently they have edited this, so some of the breaks and stuff is turned out. Hey, Purple Rain, good to have you here. Yeah, good to have you here. Yeah, I'll say the cross-examination is another hour, but
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
I have
Please be
stuff
seated.
to
Let the
do.
record will stand as much as possible.
and I also know that Jules is a bit under the weather, so this is a good place to break with the lead detective claiming there's no nexus for a search warrant when you have 2 dead people, a bloody car, the person who drove them to the ER and then lied. I mean,
Standard practice, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police officer, I just am a crime junkie. What can I tell you? But standard practice is you go to the residence of where, especially knowing that all of these people live in the same house together. 2 of the victims, and the driver, you go to the house. That's the first place you go, is you go to the residence and you speak to people in there, and they didn't need a search warrant to go and knock on the door to talk to anybody. They needed a search warrant to search the house. So while you're there talking to somebody, you start getting
talk to the neighbors.
Yes, get the paperwork ready, because come on, if they were shot inside the car, like the prosecution contends that they were, the person that did it is going to have evidence on their clothing, etc. You get there as soon as possible before evidence is destroyed.
Yeah. I mean, that is cop work 101.
Yes.
You have an apparent suspect who probably was with the victims when they died and then lied about the circumstances. I mean, I don't. What whether it is, well, he didn't show up with the gun in his hand. I mean, no.
No.
Yeah. So with.
Do you see why this is so crazy, Nick?
Yeah, this is nuts.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next hearings and for the trial to start and everything in between. And now I will be in the United States in September, but I will be in Utah. So, and I'm trying to see if I can, because I'll be spending 2 weeks in Utah. So I will be live streaming from the United States. Yay! But I will see if I can somehow get myself to Florida as well.
I hope so. I hope you can. I know Steve Gosney is hoping that as well. So yeah, we would love to have you here for sure.
Oh, maybe I can stay with Gosney for a week.
Yeah, and if I'm in the process, I will be moving next week in with my son, but it's a small place. But by July, we will have we all are moving into a larger place to accommodate me. So once we have that in place, you also have a place to lay your head. So
nice. Yeah, I will try to make it work. I will try to make it work. I will. I really, really will.
Good.
Yeah. So I don't know how often I will stream about this, the YNW Melly. Maybe once a week. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I have a few cases on my docket to stream about. I have now the YNW Melly. I have the Adelson debacle, the there are some updates on the Andrew Tate case in Romania I need to get to, and other stuff. So maybe once a week I will do an update stream on the YNW Melly stuff and watch some other testimony from the first trial.
Yeah.
And hope you can be back if we can fix our schedules.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be more than happy to do that. I have, what do I have coming up? Oh, on January 23rd, I'll be inside the courtroom. Ashley Benefield's hearing, bond hearing is taking place on the 23rd. Yeah, Mr. Taylor is asking for bond for her to be let back out on bond pending her appeal. I don't think that's going to happen, but in any case, that's happening on January 23rd. And then February 12th, I'll be in the appeals court at the appellate court listening to the arguments being made from Jay Hatch and the Take Care of Maya folks, unless that gets canceled. And P.S. it looks like it may.
Okay.
I had a 73-page document that dropped yesterday. That's absolutely explosive in my opinion. So, yeah. And then in February, at the end of February, Stephen Stearns, I'll be in for that for the essay charges against him for Madeline Soto. So that's what I got going on. I'm always here for you, Nick.
Oh yeah, we have our schedules filled to the brim. Now, for me, I'm going to also the days I don't have anything planned. I will go into the Zachary Young versus CNN. It's a defamation trial where Zachary Young is suing CNN for a hit piece they made about him, which absolutely ruined his career. And I think they have a good case. Now that is ongoing, but it will be several weeks long. So I covered most of day one yesterday. Tomorrow I will continue with that. And tomorrow afternoon, US time, it is Friday panel show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have things to do. To do. So yeah, I will see you everybody back here tomorrow, probably Saturday as well, and then so Monday through Saturday there will always be a stream or video on this channel. But thank you so much, Jules, for showing up and helping me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Yeah, sure, anytime at all.
Thank you so much. And for everybody out there, thank you for being here. And remember, folks, hug your family. Unless your family's crap, then screw them and give your love to the people who deserve it. Okay? See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.